Hello, everybody. I hope we are all doing good. It's your girl Sika in the house. A very happy good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope you're doing good. A couple days ago, I posted something, a written text on Facebook, and they had a lot of traction. And a lot of people were asking questions about how those sorts of things happen. And today, this is what we are here to address. Why is it that some people decide to settle down with, get married to, be with somebody that they're not in love with, they don't have no feelings for, but they just think that, oh, I can manage, I can manage the situation, I can make it work, I can crack the code and just exist and make things, seemingly look okay on the outside. And it's very sad and shocking to actually find that this is not an isolated incident. There's a lot of people that are married to other people that don't really have any strong feelings or attachments for their significant others, but they're just in that relationship for one of the following reasons that I'm about to give. And you'd ask the question, well, if all of these things were there, then why did you even decide to get married in the first place? The first thing that I want to talk about, good morning to everybody. If you're here and you really want me to acknowledge you, you have to say something. Say hello so I know you're here and I can give you a special shout out. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about today is that a lot of people end up marrying other people that they don't love because they can't crack the code of feeling lonely. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to die alone. I'm looking for companionship. I need somebody to be around me. And I'm not here to downplay the effects of being lonely. Sometimes that feeling, it happens to you when you're single, especially when you're getting older in age. You're in your four walls, work home, work home, work home. Maybe you live in a place where once a while there's some social gathering and you're able to go for that. But if you live abroad, depending on where you are, if you're not fully immersed in your community and involved with all the stuff that goes on there, then you can feel very isolated. You're always at home. I am a very homey sort of person. It takes a lot for me to dress up to leave my house. I have to love you that much to do that. And so when you're that sort of person and there's nobody in your life, you don't have any significant other, nobody to share your life with. One of my sisters said, I don't have anybody in my life that I can henpeck. At least when we are fighting, I feel like I have some noise and some static around me. When that's not happening, it can be quite upsetting. So some people meet somebody, the next person that says hi to them, smiles their way, whatever. Before you know it, oh yeah, this is a nice guy. Oh, this is a very lovely woman. And they jump very quickly into committing so that they can hold on to that person because they don't want to feel lonely. They don't want to be left by themselves. They think that the fact that they are by themselves today may mean that for the rest of their lives, they will end up being by themselves. So let me grab this one as, while stocks last. Let me just take this one like that. Reason number one. The second thing is that some people meet other people and they're struggling financially. Things are really bad in their lives. And they're looking at that other person that is either proposing to them or is around them and they're thinking, but this guy can take me out of my financial misery. Look at him. He's fully made. He has a house. He has cars. He has a business. If I say yes to him and he marries me now, I become entitled to what he has. And I can be overnight, become a sensation, be able to help myself and help my whole family. So let me just say yes to him. But maybe you're not even in love with him. You don't like him. Maybe physically you're not attracted to him. You don't like what he looks like. You don't like the way he behaves. There's something about him that you don't like. But just because of the financial credits that you can get, the benefits that you can get from him financially, you say yes. Maybe he has a smelly mouth. He has body odor. He embarrasses you in public, you know. But no, let me just take him like that because, he has something that I need in my life right now. And it's vice versa. There are men today who will also date women because they have money. If even the woman herself doesn't have money, her family has money. And so when this poor man, I fake this love to their child or their daughter, the father will be compassionate towards me and help me position myself and get what I need in this life. Let me just settle. Let me just take her like that. You're not attracted to her. You're not in love with her. You don't like what she stands for. But let me just take it like that. Once I have the money, things will either sort themselves out or I can have some bit on the side. I can have a side chick. So let me just go and marry. And that's another big reason why people marry other people they're not in love with. People they have no feelings for. So now, 10, 5, 15 years later, now you're made. You have the money. You have everything. The position, the clout, the credibility, the power, the whatever. That you was the reason why you got married to that person, but you're not happy. And so that opens avenues for people to either delve into having side pieces, whether it's male or female, to satisfy that emotional need or that physical need, whatever it happens to be. And there are a lot of young women, 25-year-old woman marries a 60-year-old man. What do you even have in common with somebody that's old enough to be your granddad? What will you talk about? What do you have to bond over? But for some people, they think that, hey, this is a means for me to change my whole life, my entire existence. So, let me just agree now. Let me just marry this man. Let me just be with him so that I can sort out my family issues. But you can't allow family poverty, financial challenges in your family to be the catalyst for pushing you into something that you're not even ready for. Because later on, when you have everything you need, you're not happy. Now, what do? If I leave this man now, I lose everything. If I lose this woman, all the name, the fame, and everything goes. So let me just make my bed here. What can I do? And so people are living in marriages and they're so frustrated, they're so unhappy, but they stick around because of what they seek to lose financially, assets that they seek to lose. So they stay and think that, I can manage it. I can see other people quietly. My wife, my husband will never find out. Let me just do it. Let me just take it like that. The other thing too is that in certain cultures, when you get to a particular age, the natural progression is that you have to be married. There are some cultures that we all know where the bride's family will go and find you some guy. The man's family will go and find you some lady. You've never seen them, never spoken to them in your life. You don't know nothing about them. But your family have decided that this woman is good for you. This man is good for you, and you need to be with him. Maybe there's some benefit to the family. Woman agrees to marry that guy. There's something that they seek to gain. There's some benefit to the whole family by having association with that other family. So they allow people to marry, vice versa. And then, we all benefit. But the two people that are marrying, do they know each other? Does the guy even love the woman? Does the woman have any feelings for him? Do I like him? Do I want to spend the rest of my life with him? Do our goals align? Do I even know what I want? Am I even ready for the marriage? None of these questions are asked. You are marrying this man, end the story, very transactional, whether you like it or not. This is what the family requires of you. This is what you need to do for us. And that is why a lot of people are stuck in marriages that they wish they had never even gotten involved in the first place. They didn't have any choice. So they stick around to please their family. We have to do this for the family. We have to sacrifice this for the family. We have to do this for everybody to be happy. Another reason, and this is predominantly to do with men, and I actually know somebody that falls into this exact category. He met this girl, he liked her, they were physically attracted to each other, and then they did the deed, and now she's pregnant. And now the girl's family said, well, if you have a big bula matali enough to come and make our daughter pregnant, you go marry her. You will marry her. You will marry our daughter if you have bula matali that is big enough to give our daughter Bele, you go marry her. So now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has to marry this woman. Maybe he had no intention of marrying. Or even if he did, that wasn't the woman that he wanted to settle down with. We just liked each other physically. And we had our, we did our corner, and now here we are. So people marry people just because they put the other party in the family way. Now she's pregnant for me. They're going to have a child or children, so let's do it. And now you're married. But are you happy? This guy didn't want to settle with this woman. He was forced into it because he got her pregnant. She had the baby. They were living together. But this man was happily doing his own thing on the other side, left the woman and the child. Financially, he was taking care of his responsibility, but emotionally, completely detached from this woman. Because for him, it wasn't a long-term thing. We like each other. Let's have fun. And we had the fun. Now you're pregnant. And now you're using this pregnancy to try to force me to stay. Or our families are using this pregnancy to force me to stay married to you when I don't want to be married to you. I don't want to be with you. Some girls also get married because everybody else is getting married. I was with this guy before and we broke up, and look at him 1 year later, he's marrying somebody. I also have to get married so that he will know that, the fact that he left me, the stone that the builders reject has become the head, cornerstone. I have to let him know that what he didn't want, somebody else likes that thing. So some people do that. That is somebody's reason for wanting to be married. The next thing is that, I want to be married because this is what, socially, this is what is required. You're a child, you go to school, you finish school, you come out of school, you have a good job. It's like the natural progression. Like there are these laid ground rules, and I don't even know who these rules were written down by or laid down by, but everybody feels that I go to school, I get to higher education, I finish tertiary education, I have a job. So now the next thing is I have to settle down. I have to get married. So you're not marrying because you've met somebody that you've studied for any length of time. You've gotten to know, your goals align, your virtues and standards are similar, and you think that you can make a life with this person. You're just marrying because everybody says that's what you have to do. You're at this age, everybody's doing it, so you to do it. Let's just, let's just do it. And it may sound silly, but some people get married because the physical stuff that they have been getting, they haven't been knocked like that before. This knocking is knocking, so let me just take him like that. Hey, this guy, when he puts me in that bed, what he does to me is like my brain is disconnecting. So let me just do him now. Let me just live with this man, have this bula matali for the rest of my life now. But if you base your marriage solely on the physical stuff, what are you going to do when the physical stuff is non-existent? Like he has an accident, he gets older, he gets some kind of illness, which means, his performance is not as good as it used to be. What would you do? And vice versa. Because, life happens to the best of us. It's ups and downs. When somebody becomes diabetic, for example, their nerve endings are not as sensitized as they were before. So now, maybe he can get it up, but he can't keep it up that long, or it's not as firm as it used to be. Now, all of a sudden, the knacking is not knacking. What are you going to do if the whole premise of your marriage was based on the physical stuff? Or if you're a woman, back in the day, Coca-Cola shaped bottle, and that turned you on so much. And then when you get down to the apple is so nice and succulent and soft and moist. Now she's, hitting those ages. Hormonal changes are taking place. And now this thing is not, it's as dry as anything. It's not as, moist as it used to be. It's not pleasurable anymore. Or, all those styles, kangaroo style, monkey style, those things that you could do. Flip head, she lies over, she does this, she bends over, all kinds of things. Now she can't do it anymore. If you base your marriage solely on what used to be, thinking that that's how it's always going to be, and it's not being like that anymore, are you going to be happy enough to live with that for the rest of your life? And so there's so many people who are frustrated, upset, not happy, but they are managing in their situation. Some people have gone to seek help out there from other people. So on the face of it, they are telling you, oh yeah, my marriage is so perfect, I'm so happy. But the happiness is because there's a third person in the marriage that is helping to support the superstructure, and not because the two people still feel the same way about each other as the first day that they met. Now, there's this comment here about we married to produce children, not for love. Who told you that? Is it every marriage that has children? There's some people that I know that have been married for 50 years, no pregnancy, no child. So if the premise of the marriage was because of the children that are going to be produced, how can you survive that? How would this marriage work? And neither one of those two people ever dipped their feet or their toes outside of the marriage that whole time. They understood that the real reason why they wanted to live together was because they loved each other and they wanted to share life together. Nothing to do with having children. We have this falsehood about marriage is because you should have children. Is it everybody who gets married that has a child? There's so many people who have been married, they've tried everything. There's nothing wrong with him, there's nothing wrong with her, but the two of them combined just simply can't have children. And there are other people who are not married, but they have tons of children. So that statement, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with it. Marriage is between two people. Do you love this person? Is this somebody that you see yourself making a life with for the rest of your life? Do your goals align? Do you even know yourself? Let's start from there. Do you know your own self? And these are questions that a lot of us need to be asking ourselves before we go settling in a marriage, and then feeling that we're in this bondage that we can't get out of. Do you know who you are? Who are you? Like, seeker, who are you? What do you want out of life? Have you figured your own self out? What you want to do? What you want to achieve? What destiny is calling at you? What are your goals and ambitions in this life? Because everybody's got one. And if yours is just to be married and have children, I have nothing against you. That is you. But what if your goal is to do, your parents sacrificed everything for you. And so now you also want to make sure that you settle them first. And it's one of your goals. If you marry somebody who doesn't understand that, you're going to have problems. Is this somebody whose values align with mine? Because we all have standards. We all have things that we like. What is acceptable to me may not be palatable to somebody else. Some women don't mind men who cheat. As long as you come back home to me, it's fine. For some of us, it's a huge problem because I'm not sharing Bula Matali with anybody else. I don't want any illnesses. I don't want somebody to hand me down. If you are mine, you are mine. That's it. I don't want to share. Me too, that is my prerogative. I can't deal with a smoker. I can't deal with an alcoholic. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with that. That is me. What are your standards? Do those goals align? Because some men actually believe that, you know, you can have whoever you want. I can be married to you, but I'll still have side chicks, and there's nothing you can do about it. If that is your stance, it doesn't align with my standards. Why would I even be with you to begin with? If you can't be with me and exclusively me, then we can't be together. And that's okay. So you have to have your own standards, your own values, your own virtues. How are you brought up? What do you believe in? And do those things marry out with this other person that you're introducing into your life? Yes, you go ahead. No, you think about it and you go your separate ways. If it's not going to work, and that's another huge mistake. A lot of people, oh, we can make it work in marriage, it will change. And it never does. It never ever does, because the person is who they are. Whatever you see in dating and courtship and whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, only gets amplified in the marriage. So if there are things that you don't like, if you don't address them at that stage, you can't come and complain when you're inside the marriage because you saw it, you didn't say nothing about it. Well, this is what it is. The other thing is, this is what I want to do in my life. I want to live with somebody. I want us to, raise a family together if we're blessed with one. I want to live in this particular place. I need somebody who will support my dreams as I support his. I need somebody that we can make a life together. Everything that we amass is ours. If that other person doesn't have that vision, if you're married to a man who thinks that as a woman you have to be a homemaker, so you just have to quit your job, you have to stop your education, you have to sit at home and be the homemaker, and I'll get out there and do everything. If that doesn't align with you and what you believe in, if you think that, oh, let me marry him, when we get married, we'll talk about it later. You can talk about it all you want, but this is him. This is him. Some men don't want professional women for wives. And these are all important conversations that need to be had so that you cut out or reduce conflicts, especially in the first few years of your relationship. If you just go for what you see, this guy has six pack, he's so handsome, he's so beautiful, he's this, he's that. Then when you get married, you haven't had all these important conversations. Then you create issues for yourself. People get so quick into the physical stuff. Let's go and get it. Let the cookie crumble. The things are knocking things. Body no be firewood. All those comments, without actually sitting down and having important conversations. Where do you see yourself? What do you want? You don't have none of those conversations. It's all about let's go knock. Every time knocking. Exactly. If your goals don't align, if you want to make a life together, she thinks that she has to save her own money and use it to do her own things. You to go and save yours and do your own something. Are your goals aligning? When you want to look this way, she wants to look that way. Where are you going? Every time you're arguing and fighting and all of that. And every time you have those conflicts, guess what? This is like slow poison. Because every time you get upset, you're introducing toxins inside of you. You're undergoing oxidative stress already as a human being. You're undergoing that gradually. But the more things that stress you out, the more things that make you upset, the more things that annoy you, the more things that frustrate you, you hasten that oxidative stress in your body, and it starts to tell on you. There's some friends of mine that were so beautiful. Oh my God. When we were in school, they were so pretty. 1 year marriage, and some of them look like my grandmother. They're in their 40s, maybe the same age as me, maybe a couple years older than me, and they look like my grandmother. Even my mom looks better than half of them. Why? Because they're not happy. They're wrinkled. They look so dark. These were nice, light-skinned, beautiful women. Some of them have put on so much weight. Some of them have lost so much weight, and they're just looking a shell of themselves. And it doesn't matter how much they smile for the camera, they pretend that they're happy. The eyes don't lie. The eyes is the mouthpiece to the heart. You look into their eyes in their pictures and you can tell that this person is just faking it. This person is happy, but that person is just faking it. So when you're not happy, it tells in your eyes. You can smile all you want, but your eyes are saying something different. And are you even ready? Are you ready for marriage? People tell we just get married. Are you ready? Do you know what marriage entails? Are you ready for marriage? And I'm not just talking about an age thing, because there's some 50-year-olds that, excuse my French, but they're very silly. They're not wise. They behave like kids, both men and women, because they're very immature. And there's some 20-somethings and 30-somethings that are very mature. They've been through life, they've seen life, and they understand it. So are you ready for marriage? Are you mature enough to handle what is going to come in your marriage? If you're married to somebody and all of a sudden, some sickness befalls them, are you going to stick around? Are you mature enough to hold the fort and stick to this man or this woman and be with her? There are some men, as soon as their wife have menstrual period, they move out of the room. They won't sleep in the same bed with you whilst you're doing your menses. Like, really? Seriously? You only want me for the good times, but when the not so good times come, you move out of the room. They treat you as if you're dead. You're scum. I don't come anywhere near me when you're like that. Seriously. So when you live in the West with your wife or husband and there's nobody with you because you can't afford a nanny, and you have to clean her up, wipe her up, clean him up, dress him up, take him to the hospital for his appointments, sit with him. Can you cope with that? When all you went for was looks, six-pack, how big the Bula Matali was, how long it is, what it can do when it gets inside your apple. If you make judgments based on that, where are you going? And the last but not the least thing is that some relevant questions need to be asked early on. What is this man's view around family? This girl, what are her values around family? Did he even grow up in a family himself? Is he a product of a broken home? What are his values? What does he believe in? Because people who come from certain family, setups, they behave a particular way. Imagine that you lived your life with father, mother, and you children for 40 years. Now you're marrying a woman who the dad was living somewhere, the mom was a single mom. She did her best to raise her child as best as she could. But then, it wasn't how it should be. Now she has issues, attachment issues when it comes to men, trust issues when it comes to men. Do you really think that your relationship is starting on a footing if you don't understand that enough that you've created contingencies in your relationship to address those issues? I'm not saying don't date somebody from a broken home. It's not their fault. They never asked for that to happen. But I am saying that when you have those conversations from the very beginning, so that you understand where the person is coming from, and you're able to address any potential issues that are coming out of that experience, you stand a better chance of making this marriage of yours work out. As opposed to somebody who just thinks, oh, we'll just get married and we'll figure out the rest later. And some people get married because of the wedding day. There's so many silly people who think that the marriage is about the wedding day, like that feeling. wearing that dress with the veil, everybody, all attention is on you as the bride and the groom, and you have all these page boys and best men and flower girls and maid of honor and all of that. Some people think that's just how the whole marriage is going to be. They don't know that that is just one day out of the rest of your life. And the real marriage begins that night when you close your door and say goodbye to everybody. This is now the real marriage. The guy will go to your bathroom, not lift the seat up, pee on the seat, and go to bed. That is marriage. The ladies scatter things everywhere. You don't like that. That is the real marriage. So if you think it's all about, the flamboyance, all this, trimmings, then you struggle because you never factored all of that into what you perceived it to be. A lot of people say that if marriages survive the first 2 to 5 years of its existence, you guys are fine. The first couple years is the most difficult because that is when you're really getting to know the real person that you chose to spend your life with, good or bad. The real persona is now coming out. You're not going to figure that out when one person is living in Kaswa and the other person is living on Spintex, please. That's just dating. That's fun. You go for a weekend, you go do whatever, and you come back. That's not marriage. The real marriage is living in the same house with that person. His snoring, her snoring, and all the things. What happens in between? That is the real deal. If you haven't cultivated love, love is kind, love is patient, love is considerate, empathetic, patience, perseverant, loyal, honest, trusting. If you haven't cultivated none of that, hello, Uncle Raymond. How are you doing? Happy new month to you too. Happy June. If you haven't cultivated none of that before you got into tying this knot, what are you going to do in sickness? Because you've already made that vow in sickness and in health. I watched a video on TikTok the other day. The person said, "Oh, I didn't really mean it. It's the pastor that said it, and he said I should repeat after him." But repeating after him means that you're agreeing with what he's saying and you're going to do what he says in the marriage. So now your husband that yeah, he has the 6-pack, now it's 1-pack. This man that was so attractive, he had a full head of hair. Now he has no hair or some iron filings on the side of his head called hair. That's all that is left. He has hairs pulling out of his nose. He's so unkempt. He doesn't, do the personal hygiene stuff. He has hairs growing out of his underarms. You don't like that. That is the real marriage. He shouts at you. He does this. All of those things. You didn't see them in the dating phase. But now you're in the marriage. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when that time comes? And so if there was no love to begin with, trust me, when those days come, you'll be so frustrated. He'll be pissing you off. Do you know some people have actually strangled their significant others in their sleep, smothered them? Because they just, like, this wasn't what I bought or signed up for. They can't deal with it. You meet a single girl, she's on everything, and now she's had a child, and maybe she's going through postpartum depression. As a man, if you're not mature, can you live with this woman? Because when her hormones are all over the place, she's so depressed because she didn't envisage that having a child was going to alter her whole existence. Now she has to be responsible for a whole human being. And maybe she wasn't ready for that. Or she didn't think that it was going to change her whole life that much. Some people see other people holding baby like, Gucci bag, and it's so, oh, the kid is so cute. Yeah, a lot of work goes on behind the scene for that cuteness. Mm. It's 10 o'clock at night. Your baby finally sucked the last bit of breast milk and has fallen asleep. 2 o'clock in the morning, she's screaming her eyeballs out. She needs breast milk. You're tired. You barely finally managed to fall asleep. She's crying. What are you going to do? And some of our African brothers, when the kid is crying, the kid is wet, the kid needs diaper change. Hey, take your child and go and change her. Take your child. As if he wasn't part in the making of the child. What would you do in those situations? Did you really love this woman? Did you say, forsaking all others, that you are going to remain true to her? And so, no matter what is going on, you're going to remember what you said and be with her. Accept that it's a changing face of life. It happens. I come from a marriage where, the people that made me, it's been almost 50 years now. 48 years of marriage to the same person. Yeah, that's the home that I've come from. So they believed in marriage. They dealt with the snoring and the whatever and everything in between for 47, almost 48 years now. Can you live with that? Really? When this woman can't give you children, when this man is impotent, he can't have kids, the woman can't have children, she's infertile, she's unable to, will you live with this woman and be true to her? Or are you going to say, me, I want my children. I want my children. She has to give me children. She has to give me children. If she can't give me children, me, I'm going to have it outside. If your standards and your goals don't align, you'll be miserable. If you don't have these conversations before you get married, you'll be miserable. Because maybe the guy thinks, well, in my own standard, if you're my wife and within 1 year, 2 years, I'm not seeing no belly, I'm going to have my children out there. I don't care about our marriage. I must continue my father's name. The lineage must continue. If you're married to somebody who believes that, where are you going? Or if you're married to a woman who thinks, well, as far as I'm not caught, it's okay, I can do what I like. How many men have raised other people's children and 20, 30 years on have finally found out that those children that they were looking after, they were not theirs. Some men have 4 children with their wife and only 2 of them are theirs. The other 2 now is for the friend or the milkman. It's for somebody else, not your children. What are you going to do? What would you do? And so if you're married to somebody whose vision of life, their goals, their standards, their morals, their virtues, everything does not align with yours, they think that I am the man, I can do what I like. I am the man, I can do what I like. I can have all the side chicken. There's nothing you can do. If you don't like, you can go. Somebody else will come. How are you going to live in your marriage when you haven't had these conversations? Look, if you cheat on me, if it's 30 years and I find out, we are done. That is my standard. If you don't have these conversations and set the rules of engagement, you can't come and cry. You can't come and cry. The goals, the visions, the values, everything, it all needs to be out there. These are the conversations that need to happen, not knacking. Because knacking is a function of a lot of different things. When you're not happy, all the endorphins and all the things that are released when you have an orgasm ain't gonna happen because you're not even happy. And when you're a woman and you know that you're not like the men that can just jumpstart and be going, women need to feel like the emotions have to be, attached with the whole love-making thing. A lot of men have just been raping their wives without even knowing because the woman has been faking since. They feel nothing. It's not reaching. That she's just telling you, and then You think that, oh, what you are doing is touching the right notes, but nothing is happening. And so, please, these are some of the reasons why people are stuck in marriages that are still non-functional, toxic, unhealthy. But because of religion, what society will say, hey, if I divorce now, what will people say about me? So let me just stay in it like that. Make I just manage them, that you're dying inside because you're not happy. You were never meant to be with this man or woman, but you stayed. You're just in it. If I leave him now, this house that I put everything in, all my investment, all my time, I'll stay in it. I'm not allowing him to do this to me. He is not going to take another woman. I'm not going to allow my sacrifice. So you stay in it, stinking as hell, but you're in it because you're not prepared to let go and be happy. These are the reasons why so many people are married to people they don't love, they had no feelings for, they had no business being with to begin with. But you're just doing it because your friends are getting married and you must also marry. Your biological clock is ticking. I'm 35. If I don't find somebody and settle now, when am I ever going to have children? Having children is not marriage. Having children is not marriage. If the sole premise of wanting to be married is because your clock is ticking and you must have children, you will have those children and you'll be miserable because you didn't love him. You didn't want to be with him really, but he was available. So let me just take what's available now because he's offering. Isn't it better to meet somebody that you speak love language with, you have a connection with? Because when the chips are down, those are the things that will sustain your marriage. This guy was my friend. I love my friend. I don't want to upset my friend. So even though he can't do 6 rounds every night anymore, I am lucky to even get half a round every month. I will still stay with him. Why? Because just lying next to him makes me happy. Him holding me in his arms and telling me it's going to be all right is good enough for me. So I'm just going to be with him because I'm happy with that. And if those things are not there, and you're only marrying, as our very happy brother or sister said, you marry to produce children. The children will come, but you won't stay married. Because the premise of the marriage was not, I love this man, I love this woman, I want to spend my life and make a life with her or him. It was all about procreation. In today's scientific world, you don't even need the man anymore physically present. If you're a woman and you have your eggs and everything, you can just go to a sperm bank. They put the stuff there, you have your baby. So if the premise was about just baby making, will it stand the test of time? So please, marriage is a whole new different world. If you are not ready, I beg, just be by yourself. You're better off. Because there's nothing worse. It's even worse than being imprisoned. It's to be in something that doesn't fulfill you. Your heart is not happy. Your soul is dying inside. This man or this woman is a torment, a thorn in your flesh on a daily basis. But you stick around because the Bible says that that God hates divorce. So you're sitting in it and it's killing you. Or this man is, giving you left and right. But the Bible says, what do my family say? What do people say about me? That only me, I went into marriage and I could not survive and I have come out of it. I'm a bad woman. So you stay in it. Toxicity, it kills. It can take you out. So the honest conversations that need to be had. Am I even ready for this whole thing? And there's no shame in saying that, look, I don't think there's some people who honestly own up to the fact that they don't think they can stick to that commitment of marriage, so they don't want it. That we sit here and we judge them, we call them names and all of that. At least they know themselves that they don't want to do that. What about you that is faking it and lying to yourself that that's what you want? When in actual fact, you're just in it for all the benefits that you can get. Your mind is not there. Your heart is not there. You are just physically present, but emotionally disconnect. Physically disconnect. There's so many men. You've married somebody picking. You only see them twice a year. Even that one said, hey, hi, bye. Bish, bash, bosh. We're done. That's it. Bye-bye. You've had children. You just left the children. I've left the children. Some men think that money can raise children. So as long as I'm giving her money, what is she complaining about? Who should deal with the nagging and the screaming and the hospital runs and the school runs and everything? Who should do that? Money doesn't raise children. They still need both parents, dad and mom. That's how you have balanced children. Daughters who have been shown love by their fathers don't go craving for love in wrong places. Sons who have been raised by their dads, they've shown them how to live life, how to be tough, how to be able to cope with challenges in life, make better husbands. But when there are no correct role models for the children to follow, where are you going? Where is that marriage going? What sort of men and women are we breeding? What is the next generation of marriage going to look like? And so, my people, I'm just going to end this one and pack it in here by saying that marriage is a whole commitment. You got to be ready for it before you get yourself in it. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. And that's why there's so many people that are unhappy in their marriages. I tend to see people who are married later on in life and they have the best time. Why? Because they took their time, they got to know themselves, they know what they can and can't deal with, and they met somebody that, they can gel with along those lines, and they make a happy life together. Better than rushing into it in your 20s and being 35 and 40 and what is this I've done? This man, this woman, oh my God, and regretting it for the rest of your life. It is one of the most important decisions that you make in your lifetime, and it can make or break you. Marrying the wrong man or wrong woman can alter your destiny, can cut your life short, can make you unwell, affect your mental health. Go and ask people who are in marriages that are unfulfilling. A lot of them are just staying for the children. Financially, it doesn't make any sense. So they're just coexisting. But there's no marriage. There's no connectivity. There's nothing. Now, management and packaging. Now they just the package. A word to the wise is enough, And I love the socks off of every single one of you that are here today. If you're not married, don't let anybody make you feel like you've missed out on something. And if you don't do it now, then you're going to burn in hell. Take your time. Make sure you know who you are, what you can take and deal with, and find somebody that you can tolerate, that you can share life with, so that you don't end up in tears of frustration. Oh, I didn't know this about this person. Now all these things, all these hens are coming home to roost. Yeah, but if you had taken the time and been patient enough to figure it out, you would know whether you can live with this man, this woman for the rest of your life and make something meaningful. Be satisfied and contented with that person. I love you so much. Take care of yourself. Stay beautiful and handsome. It's your girl Sika. I love every single one of you. Mwah, 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 mwah. A very big goodbye to everybody. Take care of yourself.